Hi, I'm Penguin402, aka Taylor, and today I'm going to be talking about the worst video games. Well, which video game is the worst? Either E.T. or Superman 64. You can't really see, but sorry. I got my Superman shirt on, which I love because Superman's awesome. And yeah, so we're gonna find out what video game is the worst between Superman 64 and E.T. I got this video idea from, or the streaming idea from WatchMojo.com. They did this one, and I would be doing a little bit differently. They went into like different categories and determined which one it was. No, I'm just gonna get my opinion, because my opinion, your opinion might be different than mine, but it's just my opinion. So don't take it personally if you think the other thing, some other game is worse than what I picked. This is just my opinion. So without further ado, and before I begin, actually, you might hear like a background noise. I have my fan on right now because I still have that cricket in my wall and I'm trying to get it out. So yeah, and I am a little under the weather. I am congested a little bit, but it's all fine. And without further ado, let's begin. So I'm gonna talk about. Let me say first. E.T. is a game that I've heard. I've never played either one of these two games, but I've heard so many bad things about both games. But E.T. in particular is what I've heard the most about as far as it being bad. I've heard people say that like the Arizona landfill, where the Arizona landfill was full of ET cartridges, and I'm like, that is kind of bad. And they over exaggerated it. They said there was like about a million or more cartridges in there or something like that. And there wasn't as many as people said there was, but that's pretty bad. You know a game is bad when people literally throw it out because they don't want to play it or it's that bad. But in all fairness, I will say that the game itself, the graphics are bad, but considering the time that it came out, can't really knock the graphics. Uh, now I will say on Superman 64 there were a lot of glitches, and it just wasn't a great game overall. And it was a game that I'm pretty sure a lot of people were hyped for, a lot of people wanted, but when they got it, it was disappointing. And I've heard people say negative things about it, but when people talk about Superman 64, they talk they they talk about how glitchy the game is, but and how unplayable it is because of how glitchy it is. I think it's unplayable because of the glitches as well. I've seen people online, I've seen videos on it and gameplay footage of it, and yeah, it is glitchy, but it's also hilarious. There's one part that they always show anytime I watch videos like that on it. They show Superman holding this crate above his head, and he goes underneath this. He goes in this like hallway or whatnot, and he's just holding up nothing because the crate is just didn't go didn't follow him didn't follow him. And I think that's hilarious. But and there's a lot of hilarious glitches from what I've heard in the game, but it's still bad. But I will say that between Superman and Superman 64 and ET, between the two of them, I think ET is a lot worse than Superman 64. And I'm not being biased because I love Superman. I mean, I'm not trying to be biased over my love for Superman, maybe. But I think the reason why ET is so bad is because I've heard so many people talk about this game and how bad it is, and I didn't know anything really about Superman 64 until a few years ago, like whenever I did that worst video games ever uh, video. I heard about it around that time, and so I really didn't know a whole lot about it. I knew about ET and how bad it was for years, and ET is like one of the reasons why the gaming industry collapsed in the 80s, and why, and especially in the US. It was because partly made because of ET and the Atari 2600. And funny story actually, I was telling my dad how bad E.T. is, and my dad, he's played the Atari 2600, and he said E.T. wasn't that bad. And I'm like, what planet are you living on? That game was horrible. And I don't know what he thought, why he thought, why he thought that game was great. I don't know what planet he's living on, but that game is horrible. And also, the reason why it's bad is because, like, although, like, Superman 64 took 2 years to make, and it became bad, and it had 2 years to perfect, to get it right, 2 years to make it great, and it didn't work out great. The reason why it's bad is because, from what I read online and what I heard online, was that the Warner Brothers and DC and Nintendo all wanted this game, all what this company, I think it was like Titus, wanted them to make the game, and they made it. They made the game, and like one of them didn't like it. I don't remember who it was, but I think one of them didn't like it, so they like fixed it and everything, and that's why it was bad. It was like it was a political move. It was like a bad political move on everyone's part, so that's why it was bad. E.T. This one was doomed from the start because they only had 5 weeks to make it. Like they told like who I don't remember who they told this guy to make E.T. the extraterrestrial, make it into a video game, and he had 5 weeks to do it. And so that was kind of more understandable than Superman 64. But then again, like you had 5 weeks to do it, and it's hard to make a game in 5 weeks. But still it's still bad despite what anyone says. And also, like, Kids React on the React channel, did they played this game, and they got frustrated by it because they went into one of the holes. Like, these kids went into the hole, and they tried getting back out of the hole, and they couldn't get out of the hole, and they were rage quitting. A lot of them were rage quitting because of ET. So you know it's bad when kids even tell you it's bad. I mean, and also, like, there's a place here in Tulsa that got to start in Joplin. Actually, it's called Vintage Stock. They're not a sponsor, though I wish they were, because I love Vintage Stock. Love you guys. They sell like a lot of old video games and consoles, and they have a bunch of, like, I've seen quite a bit of like N64 games and Atari 2600 games. I've seen, like, I think one ET game in there one time, and one of the vintage shops that I went to in Tulsa, and I've never seen a Superman 64. I think I might have seen it once. I don't know. But I don't think I've ever seen uh, Superman 64 in a vintage shop, and my grandparents didn't have it, so I didn't know about this game. But you know it's so it there must have been some redeeming quality for people not to get rid of it, or they probably just like took a hammer and destroyed it. I don't know what they did. They probably just did something, like destroyed it or something. But I can't imagine a game if it's that. But I can't imagine, like, it's not being at a place that sells video games and a bunch of other things. But I can't imagine they're not. If the game's really that bad, you'd think that people would go and try to resell it and get rid of it. But no, some people probably still have it, and I think the reason why some people might still have it is because they're probably like thinking, like, show people like, hey, look, I have one of the worst games of all time. Look, it's right here. It's right here. And then it's like great conversation starter as like, why it's a bad game, that kind of thing. It's just to show off. I don't know, or they love Superman as much as I do, and they just keep it as like kind of like a collector's item. I don't know, but ET, like, people threw that game out. They threw it into the trash because of how bad it was, and it ruined gaming. It ruined the gaming industry. The gaming industry in the United States, like, just failed. Like, it just I don't know, but like yeah, but the gaming industry in the U.S. collapsed. Like, it like gaming was almost gone in the US, and what brought it back was Super Nintendo. I mean, was the Nintendo Entertainment System with Super Mario Brothers and Robotic Operating Buddy, which there were hardly any games for that for Rob, anyways. But Nintendo brought it back, and Atari, like my dad, bless his heart, he likes to talk about how great Atari is. And I will admit the Atari Lynx was awesome. I love the Atari Lynx, but Nintendo has always done it better. Except they didn't do it. Except Superman 64. But really, Atari had a lot of bad games. Like I've heard that like Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 was bad. E.T. was bad. I mean, they've had some like really bad games, and granted, they were one of the first home consoles, and it was during a time when you didn't see a whole lot of great graphics in games, so that's understandable. But still, and I heard that Atari's coming out with a new system, new console, and my dad's like excited for it. I'm like, no, I still want a Switch. I'd rather have a Switch rather than the new Atari. I mean, I respect Atari for being able to last as long as they did against Nintendo, but just no. Atari is like they're great in the arcade industry, and that's where they should just stay is the arcade industry. Although I think Namco did it better. I think Namco's did it a lot better. I just don't like ET and Superman 64 is just that's just a disappointing game. It's one of those games that like it's like Duke Nukem. It's like Duke Nukem Forever. People wanted that game so badly, and when it came out, they pushed it so much. Like they pushed it to come out so early, and it did, and it became really bad. It was so bad, and a lot of people were looking forward to the game, but just it wasn't what they expected it, and it was disappointing. And that's what Superman 64 is. It's a very disappointing game for gamers. It's not what they thought it was going to be. And ET, like you knew that it was going to be a failure. You knew it was going to be that way, and there were so many glitches in that game, and just I mean I understand it was like revolutionary. Some parts of the game are revolutionary for its time, but no, leave ET. Like just don't bring ET out. Yeah, just let it stay in the past. And yeah, because ET is just a horrible game, and so is Superman 64, but not as bad as ET. Because Superman 64, that game came out, no one liked it, but it didn't end the gaming industry. The gaming industry didn't collapse, and when this game came out, it didn't collapse. There was no collapse in like 1999 when this game came out. There was a collapse when when ET came out. When ET came out, the gaming industry collapsed in like 1984. That's a sign of a bad game when the industry collapses in America and no one's buying video games, and Nintendo has to come and save it, which is which I'm fine with. I was fine with because yeah, which is fine with me because I love Nintendo. I'm a longtime Nintendo fan, and yeah. But and I know like this week, I know on Monday I said I was going to do fighting games, but I decided to do this. So next week, next Monday, I'm gonna probably do another versus. Probably do Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. And so yeah, look forward to that. And on Monday, I'm gonna continue the remake, which one is better with the music, originals versus covers, and I have a few of them on my list, so look for that one. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can find out when my next live stream is or if I do any more uploads. And I want to say this really quick. The reason why I haven't been doing uploads is because apparently YouTube takes forever to upload, and apparently my phone right here doesn't like to like it'll hook up to my computer and everything, and I can upload onto my computer. But apparently the file that I had on here, the video I did on here, didn't upload. or wasn't said it wasn't available or something that it took forever to upload that the superhero one that I did. So I'm gonna continue doing live streams because it's much easier, and I like to just interact with the fans and interact with people. And so yeah, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Bye.